Welcome to the Tomorrow Zone Catalyst podcast. I'm your host, Deborah Rubin. Today's episode is a part of an ongoing series that we're calling From Spark to Shift. And it's all about how smart leaders are navigating AI adoption. In each episode, we've been talking with visionary leaders about their bold moves and real stories. Shifting from AI talk to traction, each of our guests has been at a very different point in their AI journey, and all of them are finding really cool ways to turn potential into progress. So if you're ready to step away from the day-to-day and explore what's possible now and what's next, you're in the right place. Today's guest is Marty Grimick. She's the founder and CEO of International Connector. For over 2 decades, Marty has worked closely with Gen Z leaders across 190 countries, helping organizations to understand how this generation thinks, learns, and adopts new technologies. She's bringing global youth-centered lens to AI and the future of work, making her a perfect voice to explore how younger generations are shaping and being shaped by this technological shift. So, Marty, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here with you.
Yeah, I've been really looking forward to this. So for our listeners, Marty and I connected a while back at a virtual innovation event, and I remember seeing her speak on a panel that centered on AI adoption and intergenerational impacts. And that's been a really hot topic in my circles as well. And so I am really excited to dive into that and to get your lens on this. Before we dive into the details on AI, I wanted to hear a little bit about the work that you're doing, but also what sparked your AI journey and how has watching the younger generation interact with AI shaped your journey?
Yeah, it's such a great question. So, thank you for the lovely introduction,
You
first of
bet.
all.
Well, you are very awesome.
Thanks. I pay her for that. So, yeah, as you set up International Connector, right? We've focused on younger generations from the start, and when I founded the company close to 2 decades ago, as you were mentioning a while
No
ago
way.
now,
That's hard to believe.
it is hard to believe. But we started with millennials, right? And then Gen Z and now Gen Alpha. And what's been, I guess, consistent across every generation is that the technology changes faster than maybe organizations can adapt to it. And younger generations, what sparked me on it was the fascination of watching how they were impacted by the technological platforms they were being raised on. And so that created a new set of expectations and social content and perspectives. And that has really strikingly impacted the workplace. So AI is just simply that next major shift that we're seeing. But of course, it makes it a different speed, and in some ways there's a lot of what I say like invisibility of its impact right now. And so our AI journey has just been watching this new type of technology come into this workplace and watching how it affects younger generations that are growing up with it.
I'm curious, when you talk about the speed, that is a huge challenge when tech is moving faster than organizations can really absorb. And I wonder, are you seeing a difference in that pace compared to what you were observing with millennials as social media was coming on the scene and all of that? How is it the same and how is it different for you?
Yeah, it's a really great question. I mean, I think in the one hand, the use of AI is, especially in the last 2 years, has really hit some sort of a tipping point. And it's every conversation, right, is AI, AI, AI. How are we using it? Who's using it? What's going on with it? But also, there is a reality check to it. Some people don't always realize that they are using it on a day-to-day basis. Maybe they're tapping a little bit into ChatGPT, or maybe some of their apps have it incorporated in there. So by default, when they do a Google search, there is Gemini coming up. But at the same time, we're working across a lot of college campuses on a program with IBM, and we're seeing that so many youth are not exposed to AI, especially outside of tech industry or technical fields of study. And so, how are they starting to get impacted by this or trained in this area? So, yes, speed, but on the other hand, still people have to learn how to use it or what it's used for in their life.
Yeah, I think that's so interesting. And sometimes, often I'm around people who just assume that because somebody's young, that they're aware and up to speed and using these technologies. So that's a really interesting insight. Marty, what surprised you most about how young people who are using AI are actually using it versus how leaders assume they're using it?
Yes, best question. I think that leaders assume that young people are over reliant on it, right? That they're cutting corners or expecting AI to do all the work for them. And our data actually shows something different in there. We're finding that AI, that they're turning to it when they hit friction. So when mentorship maybe is missing, when systems are opaque, or when they feel that the stakes are super high and there's not a lot of feedback, AI basically shows up as this coping mechanism and as a learning scaffold. And even more strikingly, many experience AI less as a tool that they control and more also as a gatekeeper controlling their situation, especially when it comes to hiring and evaluation, right? There's a lot of companies, especially big companies, that now have these AI systems that maybe filter or do the hiring processes that maybe others would have done before. And so youth are really feeling that end of it. Um, and so they're not using AI necessarily to get ahead in the same way that we would expect it. They're still trying to survive inside these AI systems that maybe they don't quite understand yet.
That's a really interesting thing to think about, especially if you're more advanced in your career. You're not in that space where you're having to run the gauntlet of AI gatekeepers and AI automation in the hiring process. I remember early on, a few years ago, when I was working with folks on mapping use cases for AI, hiring was always one of the go-to use cases that was used as an example. Oh, we could automate all the things. We could put AI here. We could put AI here. And I wonder if we're heading for a pendulum swing on the other end of it, saying, okay, now we need to make hiring more human again.
Yes, yes. I there were two cases on a recent study that we haven't quite released yet, but it's with the Canadian government on the future of the Canadian workforce. And I think two things really stood out to me in that was that young people will go to, say, a career fair and to meet these companies. And then immediately the people at the career fair, I won't say it's across the board, but it happens quite often that they'll say, great, you can apply online. And so the whole reason of actually being physically in person with somebody is just diminished right away when the person is just directing everybody to that online section. And then the other thing that we've seen is this gaming system, right? They're using AI to help with their resume because they know AI systems are looking at their resumes. But yet, then we're getting mismatched in skills or the right fit. But they also don't know what each AI system is asking for. And that is really difficult when they're trying to put together, well, I have all these skills. What are these? How do these transform? How do I catch the attention of an AI tool? And so there's been a lot of undervaluing of, or overlooking, I should say, of skills that a lot of young people could bring to a company based on these AI systems.
Wow. It's so amazing how awesome the possibilities are with AI, but also the challenges that are coming right along with it. Like there's so much potential, and at the same time, so much potential being undervalued and overlooked.
100%. 100%.
So I'm curious, what are you seeing now when it comes to AI adoption, and where do you see younger professionals starting, and where do organizations assume that they're starting?
So they assume that AI adoption starts where they're at, right? The enterprise tools, right? We need these dashboards, we need automations. How do we get to scale this efficiency? But younger professionals start somewhere very different. They're starting with AI on things that are maybe more personal or low risk, right? Small ways. They need explanations. They need maybe some drafting ideas or practicing, getting feedback. Their first question or instinct is not going to be, how do I automate this? But it's, how do I navigate this system without failing? And maybe how do I show up without failing and bring something forward? So I guess organizations tend to start more with scale, and young professionals are more in that early survival mode of, how do I protect myself and show up well, that I can contribute to this whole process.
That just really drives home something that we talk about a lot in the Tomorrow Zone, just how much context matters. Because, in a corporate context, we are thinking in terms of enterprise, and the solutions are on a different level. But, when we're assuming that for people that are in more of a, survival mindset, as you mentioned earlier, they're leveraging these tools for an entirely different context. It's coping and navigating versus automating and streamlining, and those are very different thought processes.
Very different. And, it also, you have to remember, people are going into an organization maybe for the first time ever. They've never had to think in these system wide systems again, but they need something smaller in how they approach things, right? They're thinking about where they sit within it or what they need. They're not in the whole picture yet. They have to grow into that type of thought process and that type of role.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, we have a lot of work to do to grow systems thinking across all generations.
Yes,
Really.
absolutely.
Speaking of all generations, I was curious, just from your lens, what sort of resistance patterns have you observed? Not just from older generations, but from younger ones too. I've been seeing some interesting studies about adoption of AI across different generations, and I found it surprising. But I want to hear what you think about it first before I share anything.
Yeah, I would love to hear. I'm always learning from what everybody's finding. I think what we see the most is an issue on trust more than anything. So, in we have reframed how we approach it. Again, it's most people are thinking about, how do I get everybody to adopt this? But they're, when it comes to a younger generation, they're not always clear on how they're supposed to be using AI or what is accepted within the organization. So younger professionals, they worry about their own legitimacy for using it, or will they be judged for using it because they're not sure what those rules are. We Yeah, I think also then, where are things very impersonal? How has AI made things impersonal? And that's also where there might be some resistance to it, but it's really a matter of, am I just being thrown into some opaque system where the rules are not clear? And that's where trust erodes, and it erodes really fast. So I don't see AI adoption as a tooling problem. It's really a trust and translation problem.
And, when I think about what you were saying, even before trust, it's a clarity problem,
Yes.
because I think that's the thing that could drive trust. Like, if I'm not clear how I'm supposed to behave in a situation, how can I get to trust? Like, the first thing hasn't even been solved. And I love how you said this isn't a tooling problem. That has come up a lot in this series, and I've been interviewing people from all different walks of life. And so, from your perspective, what mindset shift do leaders need to make when they're trying to support AI adoption, especially in a multi-generational environment?
Yeah, it's great to think about it across the way. And I think most people, the usage has already started, right? It's just maybe it's informal or invisible, as I said at the beginning, or unsupported, right? Young professionals, again, they're not thinking in terms of AI adoption. They think in terms of help, right? I need help learning, help deciding, help preparing, all those little factors. And they also recognize this continual learning because technology just keeps shifting in their lives, right? As they've grown up, it's developed all the time in different ways. So I think that the real leadership challenge is making AI use explicit, developmental, and just thinking about its limits right now, or how they roll it, not how they roll it out, but like how they think about the mindset of where their employees maybe are, right? Again, like, come back to the trust, come back to what you're trying to get solved. And then, it's not just a productivity system, a replacement for workers. Yes, it can do that, but they're seeing it also as a support system, maybe a confidence booster or a thinking partner. So that stuff is already there. So then if you need to move it into these productivity areas, maybe start from where actually people are using it and shift the way in which you're approaching what it does right now for your employees.
I really like that thought of helping people to start from where they're at, because it's a more natural shift into something new and less comfortable. Have you encountered any examples of where that's going really well in your work with various organizations? Or is it still something we need to work on?
It's still something that we need to work on.
All right. Okay.
I
Well,
mean,
let's make it known, people. We need to work on this.
yes. I mean, I think also people, to be fair, I don't think I think we're all in this right now trying to figure this out. And so what's exciting about it right now is that this is real time trial and error. And I think the companies, and I'm proud to say all the companies I work with, are very open to trying stuff because it is an unknown area. We're at the very beginning of this, of how it's going to completely roll out and how we're going to use it in so many different ways. And so, this comes back to that ability to experiment, to try things. We always come back to our mantra, which is like rethink, reimagine, redesign. And we've always said that for so many years now because of the technology shifts that have happened overnight, and that you can't just rely on a system that you used yesterday because it can change today. But you need a way to navigate that, right? And it's scary when you're running a huge company and you've got lots of systems and people to navigate through that. But so having that mantra and that way to fall back onto something, you still at the same time have to realize that, especially in the AI world now, things are changing so fast. We have to keep asking that question daily.
Yeah. And I was thinking about something as you were talking about that, back to the intergenerational challenge. I think there's an opportunity there, to collaborate together and figure out how to navigate this, because when we think about adoption across the generations, so the little bit of research that I saw that caught my attention, it showed this chart, and it was showing that Gen X is actually more rapidly adopting AI. And you think about how I'm Gen X. So, think about how we grew up. We know what a world was like before Google.
Yeah.
And we've been through all of it. And so our navigation muscles, our muscles for navigating change are far more developed because, oh yeah, we've survived this. We can survive that, And I think that that's different if you're younger. You haven't had all those life experiences to just, quickly thin slice in your brain and fall back on and, oh, I've done this before, I can do this, And so for us, it's more like, oh, how can AI help me with this? Because I already know how I'm supposed to behave in different environments. I know what's acceptable in business and what's not. But somebody that's new to the corporate world, they're learning that on top of how to collaborate with these new tools coming from a coping perspective. So, I think I'm just, thinking, and I don't know what the answer is, but like, I wonder how we could tap into that wisdom of, older generations helping younger generations to adopt, because, at the intersection of that could be some pretty awesome possibilities.
I always believe in that intergenerational collaboration because typically a younger generation has been faster at adopting. But I think it's an interesting perspective. I actually love hearing that about Gen X, and it makes a lot of sense because, yeah, we've had to learn everything from cell phones to
How to make dinner for ourselves because our parents weren't.
Exactly. Exactly. So I think that that experience mixed with the natural ability for them to, as a younger generation, they just seem to know how to like pop into something and it can do X, Y, and Z. And you're like, what? I had no idea technology could do that. Right. So that pairing makes a huge difference. And I love hearing that and that perspective that's out there.
So, looking ahead, how do you think AI will reshape early career development? I mean, you're seeing some signals now, but what should organizations be doing now to prepare for what may come?
So this is a huge area for us. We've been spending so much time around training younger generations for. First, it was just about the shifting between academia and career, and now it's really going further into what happens once they're in the workplace. And we're seeing with companies that with AI, it's not, again, it's not just about how much they can automate within their company, but how can they also develop intentionally develop younger people early, right? The entry point into the workplace, this was really the time that people were gaining and learning on the job, right? Those repetitive tasks. And so if we don't have those easy or repetitive or entry level tasks anymore because they're automated, you still need a talent pipeline and you still need some place for them to learn. And so I think that there is a shift now in what kinds of skills we need them to have. And we really need to focus a lot on these power skills or these soft skills or whatever you call them. And there's different words out there. But we also need to recognize that you still need a different type of entry point for them. So what is that for your company? And what does that look like? Because you need that talent pipeline. Otherwise, you're just going to drop off and not have any talent lined up or any talent out there to pull from. They're using AI to get some of those skills, but remember, there is just a learning experience on the job.
Well, and there's also the matter of getting your reps in and practicing those skills, and you can only do that with humans.
Yes.
That's, for real. I don't know how you simulate, like, how do you learn? You can learn how to fly an airplane in a simulator, but can you learn soft skills in a simulator? I don't know. There may be things going on with that, but I haven't heard any success stories.
I mean, we're pretty obsessed with this, and it's actually out of that need that we launched a whole platform around this. That it's
Say more.
Yeah, so we built a program called Career Ready Connect, and it's mobile based, and it's been built with youth to and companies, like both equally putting their input into it. But it's built to help, or built in a way that young people gravitate and learn. And it really helps them build these soft skills because we found that they didn't have a place to practice it. And they're leaving college with great technical skills in any field that they're doing, technical being a broad term, but they don't have those communications or the confidence or that ability to maybe call a professional and how to go out and seek out these different opportunities. So we've really worked on that. And then again, that workplace etiquette, what happens further. And there's a lot of differences, again, coming back to why we started watching younger generations. They have very different social contexts on how they interpret things. And they should, because the world is different because of the technology they've grown up with. So put that into a work setting, their expectations are different, their perspectives are different, and we need to find a way to bring all these generations together to have an effective path forward for that company or for that career path for the young person.
So has your platform launched already?
Yeah,
So
it has.
brand new, or how long have you been doing this?
Oh, it's great. I mean, we've been training young people in these skills for many, many years now, and we iterate along the way, adding in more and more things as things change and shift, right? But we came out with more the tools to deliver it. And so, yeah, I guess in some ways, yeah, there's new technology built in, and so that makes it new, but it's tried and true, and the success rate is really high because we were just hearing it on both sides. And that critical talent gap, as we call it just keeps growing. And when you look at the huge reports on talent shortages from anyone from KPMG to Deloitte, I mean, these are massive issues that the companies are facing.
Yeah, I'm hearing it in my sphere in the finance space as well. And so I was curious, Marty, like for my friends who are executives in finance that are facing these very challenges, how could they learn more about what you're doing?
They can come speak to me anytime. I mean, it's all on our website, but we're very accessible. So we'd be happy to show them what where it's being rolled out and how people are impacted by it and who it works for. Yeah.
Awesome. So we'll get your website into the show notes so that people can easily find you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, this has been fascinating, and I can't believe how fast the conversation went. I always love chatting with you. We could spend hours, but we're at the lightning round. So I have 3 very quick questions prepared for you. So I'm just looking for quick, short answers, whatever comes top of mind. All right. So the first one, are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. Fill in the blank. AI is only powerful as blank.
Yeah, it's only as powerful as the questions we ask.
Awesome.
Yeah.
One word that describes what you see when younger generations encounter AI at work.
Okay, I've got 2. I think they're relieved because they have help, right? Before they fail publicly, they have some place to go. But equally, I think they have a cautiousness because they know it can open doors, but it can also close them.
Mm-hmm. So a little bit of relief and a little caution as well.
Cautious. Yeah.
Awesome. What do you wish someone had told you at the beginning?
I wish that we had said, like, it's not going to replace how you think, but it can expose it if you're developing those critical thinking skills. And I think that's sort of my message for younger people.
I love that. I'm just like pausing to take that in. That's the first time I've heard that on that question. And I agree. I see AI as a thought partner, and it actually can help you to develop critical thinking skills depending on how you use it.
Yes.
Yeah, such a good one. All right. Well, Marty, this has been really fascinating, and I'm so excited about the work that you're doing, and it's definitely shaping the future in an awesome way. So thank you for that.
Thank you for having me on today. I love this podcast. I learned so much from it. So it's very exciting
Awesome.
to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. And to our listeners, I hope that you took something away from that. If you're a leader and you're looking for solutions to develop the talent pipeline of the future, check out Marty's tools. She's been in this for a while. As always, we love it if you like and subscribe, share the episode with a friend. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, stay curious and choose to make awesome happen.